Okay, so let me delete that.
No. Save all the little banter stuff. We're gonna like.
Okay.
You never know.
Hello?
I'm gonna tune. Hold on. I'm gonna tune real quick.
And thrice. Hello.
Hold on.
We're close to getting it.
It's a good song. And I love yes.
And it's his vibe too. Like if he didn't like it, he'd tell you. You know what I mean? He's jamming on it.
Take it by the scenes. It's what we're doing. Come and check it out. It's what we're all about. 561 Music.
Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector.
So today we have a bit of a different episode than usual because our community suffered a tragedy, which is the disappearance of Virgil Price, and he's one of my best friends and one of William's best friends, and all these guys here knew him, so we thought we'd get together and talk about him for a little bit. We have Hutchings and William Kimball with us. Yeah, and this, of course, as ever, is Hector Diaz. Yeah. So I think really the reason I wanted to do this, it came to me yesterday, was because he's never been on the show, and he's an amazing musician. Like he was just such a killer musician, and a big part of the local scene. Played in a ton of bands, and was also just such a creative force. And I always thought it was a shame that we never had him on. And then the other thing is that I've been it's really all I've been thinking about for the last 3 days, and I couldn't really imagine doing anything else. You know, it just seemed like the obvious move to do this. And I think I'm just going to go over to William there and say, do you got any opening remarks?
Yeah. I guess my opening remark would be, being 561 Music, he ultimately was 561 Music because, he was obviously raised here, and so whatever roots, whether he knew or not, growing up being classically trained, and he loved obviously the piano, so that was the beginning of it. And he really had just from what I was told, and he told me, he just had a keen ear for it, but it wasn't just, people, they want to make it in music, and he wanted to make music. There's a difference, and some people like, I want to make it. He's like, no, I want to make it. And it didn't matter where it went, even to the last bit, whatever he did, so he just enjoyed really making music. But I think his early days, the band around here was Baxter. And,
that's right.
I believe that's the first band that I ever saw him, and I didn't really even know him because, there was a couple other guys that, another band that, you remember, Kent Anderson and Blake Hanley, they were in Nifkin, and then there were some other classic bands, 5 Cent Wish and a few others. So there was a circuit of kids that were like, high school kids playing classic high school like you guys do here at the 561 Music School, where you're doing it. But they were just doing it like in their garages and whatever, and their attics, and that's where Nifkin played.
We didn't have basements here.
No, I didn't have basements, so we couldn't do it in basements.
Went upwards down.
Everything was down. You'd like turn, we wouldn't make it down there. But
are you from here, William?
Yeah. So I'm 561 Music for sure. Yeah, and so I was obviously in the band even back then, Hit Show, and I played shows with them. I didn't even know that Virgil was even in that band until later. I didn't know until
you told me earlier, and I was at a Baxter show back in the day.
Yeah. Really cool.
We were just talking now. I was like,
so that's the early years. And I guess even opening more than that is just, you said something, I guess, that I thought about that, tragedy, but in his obituary, for those who know Virgil, if they're watching, and for those who, watch this at whatever point, and I knew, and we shared, he loved Wes Anderson films. He really loved Wes Anderson films.
I've sat and watched some Wes Anderson films with him.
Yeah, so Wes Anderson was just brilliant at writing, and so that obituary, whether Brit and his dad knew it or not, they wrote the best opening for a Wes Anderson movie ever, and it went something like this. October 18th, 1990. I can't quite remember exactly, buddy, your year date. I just know your birthday, and then, Mother's Day, 2024. Virgil M. Price III.
Yeah.
Tragically disappeared while freediving and spearfishing on a World War II wreck off the east coast of Florida. Period.
It does sound like
that is just like the greatest. I mean, if you're going to go out, that's like speaking the Kings, So
that's absolutely true. I've been thinking about that a lot, and it's if you can sort of glean some kind of silver lining out of all of this awfulness, it's that he went out in a way he would have wanted to go out,
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think anyone wants to go out, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it was quite a...
doing what you love, though.
Was something heroic and adventurous about it.
Yeah, there's just something about being underwater, and everybody that's a waterman knows it, that it's just the most peaceful place in the world, and you just crave to be down there, and you can tune out everything in the world and just be in your own element down there. And can't think of anything, that he loved doing more, so...
No, and it's
for those who knew Hunter in the music world too, and it's something that's really cool. And what you just spoke of, which is something that people can take comfort out there watching too, is that Hunter, as you were telling me, every year, and his father, they would go to the Bahamas in the summer, and I mean they're a true talk about 561, past rite of passage. These guys have done that their whole lives, going over there and diving and shooting fish and living that life. And Virgil found it, later, and so Hunter completely knows what that world is, so he can share in true honesty and honor of what really that was, because I've dived with him too, so it's really cool to hear you as a musician speak on behalf of what you experienced and what he experienced under that water, whether you or any of us have dove before. It's just a magical realm. So there's a term, free diving, but I believe when he was doing it, you flip it and turn it around, and he was diving into freedom. And that's what he was doing, and that's what we do as free divers. When you're down there, just like music or anything, you can't take the time to go, God, man, I got to remember that thing, I got to do it. You're like, there's that fish, I'm treeping around, I'm sneaking on him, I'm on that chord, you're singing your thing, I got my mandolin, I'm ripping it, you got my bass. It's the place we escape, and we go into freedom. So we're diving into freedom, whether we're on the music, we're diving into or diving. So
absolutely, I think that's how we first bonded. A bunch of musicians talking after gigs at a bar, and we started sitting next to each other, and I was probably showing some fish pictures, and he was probably looking over like, oh, what'd you got? He's like, oh, you dive too? And somebody's like, oh, I can't believe you two don't know each other. You both love, the water and spear fishing and then free diving and stuff like that. So we hit it off for hours, and I think, even we were out in front of O'Shea's doing breath hold practices, and people are looking at us like, what the hell's going on? And Sergio's got his stomach tucked into his chest and showing me how to properly do it. And I was like, I didn't know the techniques. I'd just been doing it since I was a youngin'.
I used to fish with him a lot and go out in boats and things before this, before he suddenly got really into freediving. But I've scuba dived and stuff, but never with Virgil. Done plenty of snorkeling.
I'd be intimidated too. I never went with him either. I wish I did, but
it's a side of him that I do understand it, but I didn't get to share it with him, because he was so much, frankly, better at it. He was a real. He just, when he started doing it, it was like, and this is just the most awful pun, but it was just like a fish to water. It was just
100%
perfect. He just loved it, and he seemed to be getting better and better at it, and it was a really great thing to see, because we'd had a really intense relationship, he and I. As soon as we met, we got on really well, and but we were both, we both had this sort of slightly, there was a bit of a dark edge to it, with the drinking and stuff. But when we managed to get through all of that and out the other side, it made me so happy to see him doing something and doing it so well. It was. I was so proud of him. I really was.
Yeah, and then to just follow that up about the free diving and saying, speaking like, if you couldn't keep up with them out there. But the great thing, and to lead into that, was with free diving, which was really awesome, is he really had something that was truly his, though.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't as something his, you know, father wanted him to do. It wasn't something his mother's wanted to do, and he created it really on his own. He became an instructor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he taught kids, people. He literally just came back from Dominica and got second in that tournament to like the greatest people in the world. He was preparing to go to Greece to compete in the Worlds.
Yeah.
And he, in that tournament, this is insane to think, he dove 222 feet without fins.
Wow.
And so like to think what he accomplished is amazing. So, but what's so great about what you said is like you didn't get a chance to dive with him. Believe this or not, and as crazy as it sounds, we dove one time in the Bahamas for 4 days straight, had the best dive sessions of our whole life. And then I introduced him to Errol Patiña, and who's a great musician and was one of the OGs from around here for a band called Soulcraft.
Yeah.
And he was his first free dive instructor course with Errol. And from that day forward, I never dove with him again.
Really?
Yeah, and recently I thought, God, I regret that. But then I realized something. I was like, no. He almost said it to me. He said, no, don't regret it. He said, and I said it in my soul too. I said, you know, the reason why is because it was really his, and I didn't want to overshadow in any way. I don't want to like too intermingle with it. I wanted to really feel him. He had it. He had his boys. He had he has the most beautiful crew, and I also felt on a real, you know, because we're going there, I felt like if I had gone out there and started getting in the groove, just because I know who he and I are, intense creatures, and like we're go for it, you know. Either he and I would have definitely gone before this. I'm 100% sure of it. So we would have pushed each other to the level that, you know, not being like, oh, I'm gnarlier than you. It was just, oh yeah, you're gonna go, cool, I'll go too.
Yeah, I got you.
And so I think that's something. But I value what he created, and I honor it and respect it, and I'm so happy for him. And you know, it's a different phase of his life that he like played music with you and with anybody, and then he literally put everything into that. So it's like it's another way of his music just underwater.
Yeah, definitely. I think this would be a good point in time to listen to some music, and I want to start it out with that. So Baxter was his first high school band, but I only really wanted to speak to stuff that I knew about, you know, like so it doesn't really seem appropriate to be telling other people's story for them. So I wanted to start out with a couple of tunes by Highways and Holidays, which was the project that I first met him, and he was doing it, and you were involved in that, in one other tune on that project.
Yeah, right? I was. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I joined it, it was early doors for it, but that's how we became friends. Those sessions, those 2 or 3 sort of like months of sessions doing that, really cemented our friendship. I mean, you know, it was like after the second day of going over there, because he was on the first day I didn't know him very well, and he asked would I come and you know, take a session fee and just do a session for him. And I did that one time, and then the second time I was like, you know, you don't pay me, man. We're getting on too well. We're having such a good time, you know. Let me just be part of it, you know. And that was that, you know. And then we became friends, and I remember those sessions so well because it was just really intense. It was we would just sit there until something was done. If the words needed doing, you know, we'd be there until, you know, days later or whatever when we got it done. And I'm not saying that's a good idea, but, you know, it's certainly a testament to how much intensity there was and how much we wanted to get it right, and also how much love we had for each other, that we just enjoyed spending time in each other's company. You know?
Yeah.
And, so this song is It's called Way Back, and it's I think William and I are very possibly going to re-record this song.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd play this version of it, which is the first one, and I don't know. It still speaks to me after all these years, and I just think it's got one hell of a chorus.
One of the greatest ones that you guys ever did, and I love it. I love that song from the first second I heard it, and so yes.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's listen to it.
All apologies, chronologically, I never meant to mean to be the man you need. I'm tired and wired, you see, redefine thinking. I miss my home and my love and everything. C'est la vie, mon ami, qu'est-ce fait? Are you looking for a place to stay? Cause I'm here where you left me, and time keeps on passing. The grass keeps growing, you know where your home is. If you make it home alive, if you make it home alive, melting to your open arms. If we stumble, don't survive, you know we have the time of our lives. Fall together, we'll fall tonight. You will be the last thing on my mind.
When I was growing up, I always had a way back to the way back. The train tracks led straight back to my nearest and my dearest. Most of my most enchanted moments were within your branches, and the streets of Manchester is where I took my chances. So I left the bosom with my woman, tried to make it. Shook up this shit show, grabbed the banyan with a mind to shake it. But I'm an English boy, trust me, I'll never forget it. London, Andover, Blandford, Manchester, yeah, you know I rep it.
If we make it home alive, if we make it home alive, melting to your open arms. If we stumble, don't survive, you know we have the time of our lives. Fall together, we'll fall tonight. You will be the last thing on my mind.
It's always sunny but I'm bored to death. Now my best friends are my pets. iPhone and TV, maybe it's time for therapy. Is what I'm saying important, or just England aborted? Is the country I courted everything that I thought it could be? I know that you and me could live our lives here, so heading home is just dealing with the strife here. Ain't where you're from that takes you to your Shangri-La. Coming home is in your heart, you can't just drive there in your car.
If we make it home alive, melting to your open arms. If we stumble, don't survive, we'll fall together, we'll fall tonight.
All right, yeah. So that's that song Way Back, and it was when you called me and you told me what happened. We spoke about that song. It somehow expressed kind of a part of the emotion we were feeling. So I listened to it, and then it was the first thing. It was the first thing that I like, because I didn't know what the situation was in terms of the wider world, and I didn't want to start freaking everyone out on social media and stuff. So I just posted that song, and that was it. In the hope that maybe if someone did know out there, they would get it, but like no one else would. And I think that worked pretty good. And then the next day when it all came out and the news story came out and stuff, that's when I spoke on it. But right when you told me, I didn't even know what everyone knew and whether or not it was common knowledge. Sure. I didn't know what to do really. But William, you called me and thank you so much. You tried like 3 times because I was at dinner and then I was like trying to go to bed and all this stuff, and you called me and you got through, and I'm just so thankful you did that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you have a duty, you're like, all right, you know, and no one wants to be that person, but then you realize that you are,
Yeah.
you know, and you're like, well, I'm the guy that has to reach out to Ben because I don't think his mom or anyone else did. I don't know who's going to know. You wouldn't know other kids in the dive community that would know, and then you're going to hear it later in a newscast and on a news feed. And I'd rather be the guy, the voice, the heart, the soul that conveys it, you know.
No, I appreciate
so. You know, you were one of them, and I did. I made a lot of those calls, and it was important for him and his spirit and his honor to make sure that I did also in that phone call, and even now at any time to any of you guys to know that, you know, he really did like love you for the moment he was in your presence, you know, and for how long it was, for 5 years, 2 years outside of a place showing you how to breathe, he was giving you the love that he loved in free diving because he knew you shared it. So I think that's important, and I'm stoked that you picked up.
Yeah, man. It was just the most terrible news, and I haven't really been able to, still haven't processed it properly. You know, I don't know if I ever will, but you know, I had a lot of love for Virgil. It's rare you meet someone who affects you that much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He had this spirit that you don't see in your average person. It was he's larger than life I feel like larger than life, the term was invented for Virgil.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
He really was, and
even in height.
Yeah. That's what I said, metaphorically and you know, physically.
Yeah. So the music I made with him, he had that thing, and we were talking about this with him, where he understood the importance of music and the importance of really bringing something of your soul out. You know, he had when it came to music, he had very pure intentions, and it's one of the few people I know who when they're doing that, it's very important to them that it's real, and then it's imparting what they're trying to say.
Well, like William said, you know, making music for the sake of making music and for the sake of creating something that he's proud of and that he wants to put out there, as opposed to, you know, like you said earlier, you know, I want to make it or something like that.
Yeah,
you know, like, you know, that's a big thing.
It is, and he had very pure musical intentions, and had so much fun making music with him. We had a little bit of a band situation called Ben Childs and the Whales after Killbillies.
Oh yeah,
and that was a ill-fated project, mostly due to where I was at personally. But we wrote a lot of songs in that time, and I really liked some of them. And I just want to play one of the ones that we recorded. We actually Hector and I are going to play it. So why don't we go? It's called Pacific Steam. Why don't we go and play that now?
Yeah, let's go do it, man.
Oh, that'd be cool. I want to see that.
Okay, so let me delete that.
No. Save all the little banter stuff. We're gonna like.
Okay.
You never know.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I left my love in San Francisco, bound for Singapore. Took a job as a bosun's mate on the good ship May. She's a sturdy steamer, built in 82. Boilers burn that coal-fire blue all the night and day. Won't you stay true to me, 'cause I'll soon be gone. Although it's a long time, I'm a man of my word. So won't you remember when we stopped, with your sycamore season slowly to the ground. If we don't drown, those days are coming back around. wife for some sucker and some rest. The girls were used to sailors and they put me to the test. Can I still truly love you with a maiden in my arms? My lust burns more than covenants engraved upon my arms. Won't you stay true to me? I'll soon be gone. Although it's a long time, I'm a man of my word. So won't you remember when we sat, but your sycamore seeds spin slowly to the ground? If we don't drown, those days are coming back around. Spices and puppies without license underneath the nose of the English and the law. Once we'd had our fill of the liquor and the ladies, we'd turn that steam around, San Francisco bound. Won't you stay true to me? I'll soon be gone. Although it's a long time, I'm a man of my word. So won't you remember when we sat with your sycamore seeds spin slowly to the ground? If we don't drown, those days are coming back around. Cold upon the harbor, cold upon the ground, cold in the deep, my love remains unfound. Cold upon the arbor and the tree we loved so well. The sea, it took my true love, my happiness as well. Won't you stay true to me? I'll soon be gone. Although it's a long time, I'm a man of my word. So won't you remember when we sat with your sycamore seeds spin slowly to the ground? If we don't drown, those days are coming back around. Won't you stay true to me? I'll soon be gone. Although it's a long time, I'm a man of my word. So won't you remember when we sat with your sycamore seeds spin slowly to the ground? If we don't drown, those days are coming back around. All right, so that was Pacific Steam. It has a line in it, "She's a sturdy steamer," which just cracks me up every time. But it also has like a kind of has a quality about it that he has this sort of like timeless sort of quality about that song. It's like it's always been written. I love that song.
Yeah, it's a really good song, man.
Yeah, it's also kind of like maybe she's meant like an analogy for me. She's a good. She can iron really good.
Nothing to do with boats.
She will not leave a line in your clothes.
So what was the trajectory of your music making with Virgil, William?
Well, first, before I would do that, I'd like to say something to Hector, because he spoke of something earlier about making and stuff. But one thing that, Hector and Virgil share is the bass, and Hector's a monster on the bass, playing that, just watching him play that stand-up bass. I'm like sitting there going, damn, he's walking all over that thing. And, dum, dum, dum. And so to be a bass player, you gotta you got to keep the rhythm. You got to be there. You're the dude, guitar player can buff some, mush some stuff, and the drummer and the bass, when they link up, and so. Something
about Virgil's rhythm. He had exceptionally good rhythm. He had such a good groove.
Unbelievable. And I think that's why you, being a bass player, which I appreciate about that, is that you guys are cut from a cloth that I play the bass, you play the bass, we play the bass, but there's a bass player, and they have a calm to them like Hector does, but there's a radicalness
Usually
and
the
a fire.
tallest person too.
They're usually the
I'm
tallest.
usually
always the
panicking
tallest
inside, though.
person.
You don't see that.
Right. They have a calmness to them, but you guys are actually exploding out of your skin, and maybe you don't even want to be on that stage, but it just, that's why there's maybe bass face. It's like, "Ooh, get me out of here," but I'm cool. So you guys shared in that, so that's really cool. But to go on to where you asked, like what was kind of the inception of our music journey, it was kind of funny. It was at a bar up in Jupiter called Corners. You remember Corners turned Johnny Longbows now. Johnny Mangoes. Johnny Longbows is a singer on, but this guy, Jim Tolliver, Jim Tolliver.
I thought it would have been.
Dude,
what?
He's like, I'm like, yeah, we didn't have a bass player at the time, and I'm like, yeah, and he's like, dude, I got this guy. He's playing in the college circuit, dude. This guy Virgil, hey, dude, he played with my brother. He's a great musician, great bass player. And I'm like, love Jim, but I'm like, that's like saying, Rick Gage is saying he's got this, dude who's a really good shot, and he's got a truck, and you show up, and he's got like a Barbie truck, and he's got a bang pistol. Yeah, we're not going to take him out into the woods with us because that's not actually a real gun. But so I show up to Corners, and Virgil's playing, him and Ian Yeakel, and they had the thing that they were doing the college circuit. They were doing 2 guitars and singing like all, and some of Virgil's songs. So I'm watching him playing, and he gets done, and we go up to each other and we get introduced, and in kind of hilarious fashion, because everyone kind of saw and sees Virgil as kind of like the mellow kind of cruisy guy, but we really sized each other up. Like, okay, here's this, and he's thinking like, all right, Jim's asking me to meet this guy who wants me to play bass with. He's like, this guy ain't, I don't know who this clown is. And and I'm like, and then I'm like, well, I'm looking to find a bass player. So Jim's asked me to meet this guy that plays bass, whatever. And so he's looking at me, I'm looking at him like, yeah, cool. And I'm like, all right, well, here's my number, whatever. Just come out to the warehouse. Let's come on out. And so he comes, and he's tall. I kind of get a little bit better because the corner's kind of dark, and get a little better thing. And he comes out and kind of fumbling around, and he pulls out this bass guitar, and I'm like, yeah, cool. And he plugs in and kind of doom 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 doom, tunes it up real quick. Look at the drummer, like, all right, let's just kind of start jamming. And I start playing, and man, it was like, man, I'm going to quit real quick, and you just play, and I'll be over there and watch you guys. Because I was like, oh, wow, that's a real player. Can't fake this one, And so I was like, yeah, so what are you doing for like the next 10 years? You good? and then I just knew right then. I was like, instantly, I was like, boom. And then just like, same thing with you. It just like went from there, and like we just like seamlessly all of a sudden found out all these things we understood immediately, like Wes Anderson and this, and we talked about this, and then we went to this, and then musically we just knew, and then he could harmonize with me instantly. He like would just find my notes and be right behind me, and I'd look at sometimes, and I'd be like singing, I'm like, where's that coming from? And I'd look over, and I'm like, he didn't even practice it, just did it, and he'd like do it while we were practicing, and then we we took that journey a long time, hit show, and which had been a band around here. We probably, I think in history, if you actually were to put the tally up, I think we might have beat a lot of bands, definitely in this state, maybe in the world of members. Because I swear,
I don't know, man.
No, I don't know. No, I'm not joking. I really believe, and I'm not going to lie.
Have you seen Spread?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It's a ska band, Revolving Doors.
Honestly, we're definitely over 30 to 35.
Yeah, okay, you win.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, and I'm not joking. Like, I mean, the lineups that you would have believed, you wouldn't believe, but it is. I swear it's true. And I can name them right now, most of them, but then some I even forgot, and they're like, dude, you played in the band. I forgot about that.
Oh, that's wild.
Anyways, to cut it short, to make it, not cut it short, but just to get to the real point, we also, then later we end up touring with Tom Curran. For those who know Tom Curran, he's a 3-time world champion surfer, and you played with us at a gig.
I had the honor of playing with him one time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so we did all these wild musical journeys and different facets and all that stuff. But I think the thing that really what I would define he and I as is like, you know, I just was given these songs by the little other channel that, you know, the universal channel we can tune into. So I never really wrote a lot, but he would just accent them and make them right. And he looked at me, and I think the reason why we played so long, which he loved, was he would be like, this is great. This guy is not telling me that's not a good bass line, or you should do this, so I can really go anywhere I want. And he's just going to be right there, and we're going to work. And so he never felt threatened by that. And so he could do and go where he wanted. So I think it was a level where he truly felt free, where maybe other bands like, you know, I think you should try this, or hey, try something different, or da-da-da. So
yeah, the amount of times I was trying to force all these like Irish fiddle melodies down his throat, you know, like that. Yeah. That's not how Virgil operates, really. No, he's just a wonderful, like, natural musician. Yeah, you try and put him in a box, and he doesn't like it at all. No, and like this guy, you know, Spread the Dub. You know, you guys, as you said, went through so many different musicians and stuff, but I'm sure there's that guy that's been with you for a long time or still, but you knew you felt comfortable with. But
there's a few of us, you know, that there's always some bandmates that become more than that they become your family, your brother. And then we've been through so much together, a few of us, and have so many memories and stories, like a core group of us. But those are the ones that always stick with you. I've worked with lots of musicians, but, you know, there's, you know, a few that I call like a brother, you know, and I'm sure that's what you and Virg had. And like, he had that kind of effect. You know, I unfortunately never got to play with him too much, but it's just, you know, such a quick impression, but such a long lasting impression. Somebody that could really like, you bond with pretty well. You went through 30 bandmates, and that's the one that went with you the whole way.
Oh, it's incredible to think that. But yeah, to go along with that, I think the thing with it really is with Virgil. Yeah, I mean, whether we played music or not, whether you played music not with him, whatever what it was, the outside facet, that's what we shared in. So these things that we all shared in, that all of us sitting here and anyone watching out there, you know, that shares in it too. It's a magical, mystical, mysterious little world that we tangle ourselves in, you know, and you don't quite grasp it sometimes because you're like, oh, I'm entertaining and stuff, but to have 4, 5, 3 guys to be in the same vein and stay in the rhythm without a metronome live or whatever you're at, and all that music to then create something that's so magical, mysterious, whether whatever. It's great to play a cover, but you guys created your Spread the Dub tunes, your Killbillies, your whatever, you know, like, and so when you have that, you realize that no matter how many bandmates you go through or whatever, there's going to be those people that, you know, you, Hector, and the guy who played with us, he was in Hit Show. Your dude was in Hit Show. James was James Galliano was in Hit Show.
Right. He was number 28.
He was number 28. But what I mean by it is that there's going to be those guys, you know, and so Virgil out there in the Ether and the Universal Channel, you're out there now, you're probably on a battlefield in Civil War or like this World War II, you know, you dove down and went into a portal. That's what I believe. I think we were actually in the presence of a time traveler. You guys just didn't know it this whole time.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
I know, but going off the tangent, the point is he was one of those guys and is one of those guys that I will never enter a stage or a musical situation again where I can always look to my right and he would look at me because he was always to my right, and we just knew, like, he was always coming out of his skin because he had horrible stage fright. But when he looked at me, he knew.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. He'd look at me and he'd go, well, that guy's as much of a lunatic who probably smashed his guitar or, like, tell someone in the audience something he probably shouldn't have, but I'm going to love it because I wish I could. And yet that was his comfort because he knew, I'm not going to be afraid because I got that idiot over there. He's out of control. So they're going to be looking at him. They're not going to care about me. And so, but his stage presence, whether he knew it or not, was magical, mysterious, and just marvelously he didn't even realize. He just kind of looked over at you and played the bass, and he always played barefooted. You know? And so that's, I guess, the thing that is you know, he lived in the 3 M's, you know, the mystery, the magical, and the majestic, you know, and I just look at him like that, you know, and he'll always be that for all of us, and for anyone that watches this, he'll be that for you, and just, you know, that's it, you know, that's who he was for me in the musical realm, but beyond that, he was just that guy that was, he'll always be to my right. There you are, buddy. I see you.
Yeah.
Yep.
He lived, virtually lived at my house for a while.
I remember.
And the amount of time that we spent together, you just get to know someone so well. It was one of the most exciting times of my life, because just kind of the way he is, and he has so much energy, and he also had this thing about him which I don't have at all, which is like this kind of fearless kind of creativity. So he'd always have like some insane idea to do something, and it was always like the best thing ever, and God knows how I didn't think of it. And so like when we used to spend days just doing weird stuff, like going to the zoo, or he always had these great ideas. Or we go to a golf course and like fish in the pond on a golf course.
I remember.
Just very creative and like
who came up with the paper airplanes thing?
Oh, the paper airplanes thing. It was almost definitely him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
That's a great song.
Yeah. So there's a song "Paper Airplane" that was on Transplant Life by Killbillies, and it is nothing like any of the other songs on there. It's so obviously his song. It is joyful and whimsical, and I mean, we wrote it together, but it has the spirit of him.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Going along with that, back to your house, we were talking about that earlier, and I guess any time is no better than the present, because we're sort of close to that subject, is, you had the little studio up there in the upstairs room that kind of was a studio, but it was like recording. But the song that we talked about that we'll play is called Guiding Star. Yeah. And we recorded it. You weren't there. I went to your house, and I went up in that upstairs room with them on, and the song that, whenever you feel we want to play it it's called Guiding Star. And so in a way, if we hear it now, it's pretty rough. It's not the greatest recording, but he did it, and he's singing the backup kind of like end melody, and it's kind of haunting when you listen to it, because you hear his voice, and the melody is almost like haunting in a way. But the cool thing I like about it is it's called Guiding Star. So in a sense, right now, whether we were aware of it then, he is now our guiding star.
Yeah. Let's listen to it right now.
Yeah.
Standing there alone, you were frowning in your dress. I never meant to offend you, only to impress. I only wanted to be there when you ran outside your door. I never meant to be there for you, but I wanted more. But you are a guiding star, a guiding star. I know that you have been caught inside of some kind of mess. I cannot bring you back, but I can guess. I painted paintings on the wall with fingers heavy set. I try not to remember, but I don't forget. But you are a guiding star, a guiding star.
we just listened to Guiding Star. That's one of my favorite tunes of you guys. It's one of those songs that, you know, that haunts me. It's beautiful. It has this big, expansive, like, sort of size to it, emptiness in a way. It's like,
very empty. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, and it, you know, the vocal for me was actually like kind of a one take too, and we didn't think we were ever going to even like use it, and so it was just like more like a sketch, but you realize that we never really went back and did it. So it's great that the emptiness really was just kind of classic that way. But that guitar riff is him playing the guitar riff, this cool little hook, that down, and
it's kind of like almost spaghetti western type
yes,
stuff.
that's correct. It totally is. It's Sergio Leone. Yes.
Yeah. So, you went. Did you guys ever go on tour? Did Virgil?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, we did some classic touring. We played with Toots and the Maytals.
Yeah.
We played with Keller Williams, which another band that I probably wouldn't admit to is OAR.
Oh, there you go.
You know, we played with them actually in Jersey, and then
what was the deal with Carly Simon? I've seen some.
Oh yeah, that was a great one. Funny enough, we did my tour.
Yeah.
And then Tom Kern was our opener.
Oh, gotcha.
As a surfer, that's pretty legendary. Who opened for you? Tom Kern. And but the funny thing was Virgil was double duty. So when Tom would open, Virgil played in Tom's band, and then he'd come and play with us.
Right.
And then the end of the tour, there was a place in Martha's Vineyard, which was her place and James Taylor's, and it was the Hot Tin Roof. And it was this like club out there that all the classic people played back in the day. And then I think it like closed down or something, but then she got the sign and she had this place at her house, and then it was called the Hot Tin Roof. And so we set up this show at her house in this place with like, people that we invited from there. And then she hadn't played in front of a lot of people. And so it was really wild that I sang, "You're so vain, you probably think the song is about you, don't you?" Like, there's Carly Simon and singing with him, like, and then she sang my song with me.
Wow.
Yeah, and so she's on stage, and the really cool thing was, like, Virgil's up there, and here we are, and we're getting this chance to play with Carly Simon. That, like, if a lot of people know the history of her, like she went kind of recluse. She didn't really play with a lot of people, so this was like a real like treasure, So for him, I remember getting him done. And then what was really the most even more than that was Ben Taylor, your name, which is her son and James Taylor's son.
Right.
And then Ben and Virgil were like two peas in a pod.
Oh, cool.
But we got a chance to play with him too, and we did that just having fun at dinner later at night. He brought out the acoustic, and we were all singing, and so that was the end of that tour. And I believe for us as a touring thing, like doing it, I mean, what better way if we never ever played another touring thing, like to go and play at Carly Simon's house with a small select group of audience.
That's amazing.
And
it's crazy.
That was it, and it was really special. And that I have that is that just he and I playing, and he is on there. I do have that video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
if
you guys look that up, you can just look up like William Kimball's Summer Tour or whatever, and if you wanted to play it, great, we can, but it's not.
Yeah. Let's play it. Let's watch it right now. Cool. Yeah, you can just show me that later, where I can find it. Okay. Okay, I think the next thing that it's important to do is that we contacted Brit, his sister. They used to play in a band, didn't they? The Prices.
That's kind of his real and their real kind of move into like they were really going for it. You know, they were on the Bamboozle tour.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and Greg Hansen from here was in that band.
Yeah.
And
he's an amazing guitar player.
And I believe Ian Yeakel even at one time may have been on it. You remember Ian? He was 5 Cent Wish. Yeah. And so, Brit is just absolutely, I mean, and honestly, Brit, when you see this, your brother, you know, that he was so proud of how she sung. He would like tell me, listen to my sister.
Yeah,
Brit is just amazing. I mean, dude, her tone, and we write these, and he showed me all the songs. He was so stoked, and he is and will always be. But they, you know, created this music together. I mean, how cool is that, brother and sister? The Prices, you know, and so.
And she is so good, and the amount that Virgil used to talk about her, and the glowing way he used to talk about her was just delightful. He loved the music he made with her. He loved it.
100%. And you know, there's songs that I still listen to now, and when I hear the hook and again the chorus, you know, like the one we had spoken of, they're just amazing. They're truly like really awesome songs.
Yeah, so now's a good time to Brit actually gave us a message, so we're going to play that message, and then also the song Long Time, which is one of her favorites out of the ones they did.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Hey guys, thank you for having me say a few words about my brother today. The reason why I even have gotten into music myself was because I was his younger sibling and saw how Virgil, he took to like every single instrument. And one of my favorite earliest memories is him. And he was a big toddler, you know, he was a giant from the time we were kids, but you know, he's probably 3 or 4. And I mean, I might as well have been 2 or 3, you know. Yeah. And he would sit in the middle of this massive sousaphone and just try to make it work and just blow into that mouthpiece. And he wore it like an inner tube. And I distinctly remember that from just being in our playroom when we lived up north in Purchase, New York. And I was fascinated by it too. I used to stick my head in the top of the sousaphone. It was like something out of a Dr. Seuss book. And you know, he had the interest in piano at first, and he took to all these bands and these songs and these sounds, and I wouldn't be the musician I am or the singer I am or just the person I am without going through life with him. In high school, he influenced me with his music taste. He would blast some Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix and the Grateful Dead for a period of time. And he had that Blues Traveler song that he loved and some Counting Crows. And I remember going to a couple of Dave Matthews concerts with him. And then he loved, I want to say Bella Fleck and the Flecktones and Victor Wooten. And that, for me, you know, I was, you know, still stuck on Britney Spears and Toxic, and he would be like, okay, we need to really work on your musical education here. and he just introduced me to so many different sounds and artists. And the most recent artist he shared with me that he was really passionate about was Theo Katzman. And he wanted to create something more like that for his next project. Working with him on the album from the Prices was so much fun. I was living in North Carolina at the time, and he was in Florida. And he would write all this music and you know, roughly produce it and send it to me and be like, write the lyrics. And I did. And it was such an easy flow and process And I'm very proud of that music. I had planned on releasing it again with him in the future, and I've just kind of held on to it. And I would love for you guys to play some of it. And it was the name of the album was called The Awesomeness, and if you can probably guess who named it. And it was the perfect title. My brother was so creative and so imaginative, and God, I just really would give anything to be able to write music with him again. Yeah. And the last thing I'll say is there won't ever be a time when I'm playing the keyboard or playing my guitars and not thinking of him. I mean, he's the reason why I play music and the reason why I fell in love with it. And I just, God, I'll miss him so much. Thanks, guys. And thank you for keeping his memory alive and for keeping his music alive. And I'm really grateful to you. All right. Have a good night.
I've been thinking more than usual, staring at the paint splitting from the wall. It's been such a long time since I've had a good time. It's been such a long time since I've seen those soft eyes. It's been such a long time since I've had a good time, babe. Wake up 10 years older in a room full of wounded soldiers. So I drink on down, though they could be much colder. They just seem to take the weight off my shoulders. It's been such a long time since I've had a good time. It's been such a long time since I've seen those soft eyes. It's been such a long time since I've had a good time, babe. Walk out from a dust-covered hall. It's time I see something, anything at all. You can call me crazy, you can call me sad. I'm sick of all this devotion, sick of all I've had. 'Cause it's been such a long time since I've had a good time. It's been such a long time since I've seen those soft eyes. It's been such a long time since I've had a good time, babe. La-da-da, la-da-da, la-da-da-da-da. La-da-da, la-da-da, la-da-da-da-da. La-da-da-da, la-da-da-da-da. It's been such a long time since I've had a good time. It's been such a long time since I've seen those soft eyes. It's been such a long time since I've had a good time. It's been such a long time since I've seen those soft eyes. It's been such a long time since I've had a good time, babe. Since I've had a good time.
Okay, so it was really important to me that the family knew that we were all going to be doing this, just because I don't know, it worried me somehow that because I didn't get haven't been in touch with Virgil's parents since it happened, and I've been feeling kind of sad about that, but I understand why. This is just the worst thing that can ever happen to parents.
Sure.
It's the worst thing that can happen. There's nothing worse than this. And so it's not like I, wanted to take away any of their time while they're coming to terms with it.
Being respectful and stuff, so,
yeah,
that makes sense.
But it's nice to hear from Brit, and really appreciate that she wanted to put something towards this. Is really massively appreciated. So in the more recent times, Virgil played with JM and the Sweets for a long time, actually. Yeah. And that band is just so good, and Josh just has the most amazing voice. It's just insane. Yeah. But again, that's a journey that wasn't mine, and I don't want to speak on it too much, except to say that you should listen to JM and the Sweets. They're one of the best bands around here. Beautiful music.
Yeah, they're amazing. That's kind of first when I started meeting Virgil, was when he was playing with them, and we'd share shows and that. But they made an interesting post that I saw on the way here. They finally made a little tribute, and Josh said kind of how he met Virg, and it was Virg that really pushed him to start JM and the Sweets. Yeah. The guitar he plays to this day is one that Virgil gave him, and that he's the one that helped him put the whole thing together. And it's just cool to see how much of a driving force that he really is in all the projects that he's been a part of, and that. Yeah. And they still are such an amazing band. Like, one I always looked up to, like, man.
Yeah.
They can't believe this is a local band. Like, I should be watching these people.
Yeah, we had Josh on the show way back in the beginning, one of the first few shows, I think it was. Yeah. And just an incredible talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has one of those arresting voices that you hear it and you just have to stop what you're doing. Just one of those kind of voices,
Just stop singing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just give up after that.
Yeah, just instantly.
Yeah, no, they're a great band. And then very recently, he's been sitting in with Brett Statsker as well, which is
Roots Shakedown. Yeah,
Roots Shakedown.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're actually going to be doing a celebration of life too. They'll be playing and doing a jam at E.R. Bradley's on a Sunday night.
Yeah,
or Monday night after the service and everything.
Yeah. I'm gonna head down there myself. Yeah.
And you're gonna be up there too. You just don't know it.
Yeah, I've already been invited to jam.
But
it's nice to see that everyone's doing some things too. The Florida Freedivers are doing a thing on Saturday too.
Yeah.
6:30. They're dropping that.
Yeah. So if anyone's looking to go and celebrate Virgil's life, we'll all be at E.R. Bradley's Monday evening.
6 on. Yeah.
Yeah, from 6 on.
Yeah.
And what a life, and what a appropriate thing to celebrate. He's just brought so much joy to so many people, Virgil did. Was he a handful at times? Of course, all the best people are.
We all are.
Yeah, exactly. I know I am.
Really?
No.
But it's a net positive in the most huge way. You're just so fun, full of life, intelligent, creative. I mean, the list goes on.
Well, I only know Virgil, for the most part, through you and through stories from you and, talking to you and hearing about him and stuff. And I've only met him a few times, and the few times that I've met him has always been at Killbilly shows. Because periodically he would come out and come hang out and watch the show for a little bit. I'm sitting here listening to you guys, and I've been kind of quiet because, again, I didn't know him as well as you guys, but listening to you guys talking about how full of life he was and how energetic he was, and then just he was always happy and he was always smiles, and that's the only Virgil I know. Like the few times that I have met him, it was always this just huge smile, ball of energy. And here's a guy, the first time I met him, here's a guy that I've never met before. And, you were like, oh, this is Virgil. And I finally got to meet him. And the first thing out of his mouth was like, man, I'm so happy you're in Killbillies. You guys sound so good. And this and that. And I was like, oh, well, thanks, man. He's just such a positive guy,
Yeah. With a huge infectious smile.
Oh, my God. I remember the last time I saw him, we were rehearsing at our practice space, and he was across the way at Roots' bass. And all of a sudden, I just see this face pop through the door with this big smile on his face, and he's like jamming out because we were doing our Blink-182 tribute, and he just thought it was the funnest, coolest thing.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
So it's just that's the lasting impression. The last time I saw him, unfortunately, wish we got the chat, but he just looked so stoked. Stuck his head through that door and being like, "You guys are doing this?"
He was able to tap into that childlike joy of life.
Yeah,
which is you can start to lose as you get older, but he certainly had not.
No, he didn't. And it's funny, like the childlike thing, is something we'd always say too. Is like, it's like, I just joke around, how old are you? And I'd be like, I'm 11. I just got taller and weirder. It's just kind of look at me and laugh and like, yeah, me too, but I'm probably not going to say it out loud, So I'm like, you got taller. Then if you're 11 and you're that tall, it's not right, buddy. But it was just a childlike spirit that, we both, and all of us, whether we like it or not, we possess. That's why we still play music and surf and dive and stuff. And, it's important. And, like this jacket I have on, this is his jacket, and like, he'd go out in this jacket.
I've seen so many pictures of him in that jacket.
Most people be like, oh, that's like a military thing. Like, where are you going? And like, out. He went to Kachina's in it.
No, he's a really stylish bloke. He definitely some brave fashion choices going on.
Sure. No, like stage fright to the max, but would show up in board shorts, all colored and charted out with this jacket on, pierced ears and hair up, and some funky hat like this hat, which is his hat too. And, even to this wetsuit right here. Look at it. This is the last, speared fish was in this wetsuit, and it's still wet and it still smells, and it's like, but you'd think you'd want to like be real camouflaged down in the water, and he's like, no, but look at the colors on this thing. They're kind of bright. You can scare everything away with this kind of pinkish stuff here. He's like, no, Waihana sent me this, and Waihana, thank you, because they sponsored him, and I when I went to his house the other day, this was one of the first things that I did see as I walked in the door, which is a really heavy thing to do. And I picked it up, and I just put it around my shoulders, and I just smelt it, and I hugged it, and it was still wet. And it's like that's
a piece of him right here.
That's it. It's a piece of you right here, buddy. And I think the thing about it, also I grabbed some of his clothes and I grabbed that, accordion, and I knew things too, but I picked up his clothes and I stuck them up to my nose, like, I want to just feel you in. I'm like, God, that smells like cat piss, dog shit. Excuse my French. Bird
immediately
poop,
regretted this.
like fish guts and like vape and like stink. And I was like, but that's you, buddy.
Full of life and smells.
Yeah, you remember back in the day when he was fishing out of his car. That car was right.
Oh my God. You know what he did? Oh man, so good. I got to go on that one because we were up at this place and we decided we're going to get a gator. So, he loved making gator chowder.
That's what you do in Florida.
Yeah, we'll have gator chowder at Bradley's on Monday night as well. But we got this gator, and he just took it. He threw in the back of his Jeep, and man, gators stink. And he just left it in there, man. I'm like, Virgil, man, come on. I'm like, dude, let's just like leave. No, he just picked it, bear hugged it, pulled it, dropped it in there.
Oh, man.
And I swear for like months, not weeks, not days, I'd get in with him and be like, dude, did you wash any of that like slime or like anything that came off in the back? No, it's fine. It's not that bad. And I'm like, roll down the window. But that was what the great thing and is a great thing. And I and that's why I like wearing this, and like I'm trying to do the best I can. Is just, he and not in any way negative at all, but he was a beautiful disaster. Because he would come late and everything would be like chords would be all over the place. And he'd be like, what? And he'd be barefooted, and I'd look at him like, and I'd be like, God, that's the greatest mess ever. You're just the most beautiful disaster mess ever. And I'd be like, and that's why I love you. And and that's what made him unique, because as much as you could say those things, dirty trucks or anything, is that, and then he'd get on that stage, or he'd get on that recording or whatever, and you'd be like, man, wow. Like, you just sit back and be
exactly.
Be enamored.
Who ever said that, like, being neat and tidy is the be-all and end-all?
Horrible.
Who cares?
Horrible.
Wasn't Pigpen with Charlie Brown? Like, the musician was the dirty one, right?
Of course.
The piano player, of course.
Well, as musicians, I think, too, you, anyone watching out there, as I smash my mic and probably make everyone's ears fall off, it's okay. We're throw and go humans. And when you live a life of throw and go, it's like, the end of the night, you played your gig and you're like, you get all those chords wrapped up, throw it in the truck and throw and off to the next, go home.
Truck's always filled.
Do I need to go and like unload tomorrow or tonight? Throw and go. Next show, throw and go, So you live life throw and go, and then all of a sudden there's a pile of stuff here. It's maybe it looks a little dirty, and if you don't have a wife, or you don't have you by yourself, all of a sudden you look at your closet and you're like, don't go in my room. But that is true, man. Neatness is saved for those who just don't take the risks to do the things that the world presents to you: music, diving, surfing, exploring, going to Hawaii when you're booties, and free diving in the Bahamas with your dad in your board shorts and your sling, and fishing with him at night on boats that probably should have flipped over and whatever.
Oh my God! I have to bring this up real quick. We got a kayak and we found this like 1960s ancient like electric motor, and we just roped it onto the back of the kayak. That was our boat. And we had a lot of fun in that boat. We went out the inlet at one point. It's the most dangerous possible thing we could have ever done.
It's funny you mention all the gear thing too, because one of the Virgil memories I have too is he left not one but two giant keyboard rigs in our practice spot. He used the practice spot for like an hour.
Right in the middle of the floor.
An hour or two, and he leaves right in the middle of the floor, and he leaves them there for gotta be 8 months. And every band that comes through there, every musician that's working in there is just tripping over these things, and they're like, God damn, what's going on? I was just like, listen, I've called, I've texted, every day. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna come get him. This went on for 8 months, to the point I'm like, Virgil, I'm gonna sell these things if you don't come get them, dude. We are tripping over them every day.
Oh, that's so
huge keyboard. Nice keyboards.
You're like, man, I can get some. I'll get some new equipment with that, buddy.
Like, if you're not coming back for them, I gotta get them out of here, man.
Yeah, man. It makes me feel like he's here with us.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we did this and we got to talk about him. And like I said before, I don't know what else I would have been able to do for a podcast this week. It's pretty much the only thing I've been thinking about all week. And get serious real quick. Any of his friends and family out there that are watching, if you're feeling any way like I'm feeling, it's not good. And if you need to reach out to anyone about it and you want someone who understands, reach out to me. I'll talk about him all day long. And I loved him. He was one of my best friends I've ever had, and now we just got to celebrate the life that he had, and we'll all be there on Monday night to do just that. And I think we should probably leave it there. Has anyone got anything else they want to say?
Well, I think you said those true heartfelt sentiments of what you had as a friend, and like for me, anyone out there, friend, family, kid watching, person who is just coming here as an adult band or anything like in music or free diving. There's one thing that, he would want y'all to know is that as a teacher, which he was of free diving and surfing and, music in his own way, he's making Hector cough right now because he wants to do that. He's like, make Hector.
Virgil's making me cough because he's saying, wrap it up, man.
He's like, you guys don't just stop being that way. But just
I apologize.
Real quickly in ending it is that we're smiling in the really heartfelt moment, but just know that like. Go do it. Pick it up. Like, don't be afraid. Don't be scared that, I don't think I'm good enough or I can't do that. Like go do that and know that, there's people who teach you like Virgil that are out there that love what they're doing and they're going to teach you that. So don't be afraid to think, that person's going to look at me weird because he would brace you and do that. And that love for him, from me, from you, to any of us, is why, like it's really special. And I just, like you said, it's pretty heavy, but, I mean, I really love that guy and I love him, man. And people don't be afraid to tell that to your friends and your family because, there's this thing that's the cool syndrome. And, people think, bro, I don't love, that's stupid. And it's like, no, man, because love is an eternal channel and it's what we have to remember. So remember that. So if you take anything away from this night, from me, as in my words right now, Ben or any of us, but my words right now is just don't be afraid to really love each other and don't forget each other in moments and reach out. And like you said, if you're having troubles, reach out to him, reach out to me, but reach out to your friends and cherish each other in all the seconds you have and be present. And I love you, buddy, in the Universal Channel and to all his friends and family. He really loved all of you. So that's the main thing I want you guys really to know, and you and anyone that partook in him. He just really embraced what love was. So and thank you for that, buddy, and we'll keep your legacy and life alive to eternity, and I know we all promise that.
No doubt, man. All right, well, thanks for coming, listening to the episode. If you made it this far, then now you know a lot more about Virgil Price if you didn't before, and that's another good reason why we should do this is to just kind of disseminate his memory, and because everyone should know about Virgil Price. Anyway, all right. Yeah, let's go. See you later.
Take your medicine.